What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the Maketoys Endgame, their version of a masterpiece Dirge. So this just came out maybe a couple weeks ago, and I got it from my guy Baba Bobo. The link will be in the description below. He's selling these for, I think it's $120, but you get a $5 coupon or discount, so it does come out a little bit cheaper than the American retailers. But here's the box. You get some nice product images, a little bit, nothing really on the side, just some faded images, and on the back you've got the product images. Obviously it comes with 5 different faces, which actually, that's a lot of faces, and it looks pretty good. We'll take a look at obviously all the features and everything, but that's really it for the box. You also get a instruction manual, and I haven't even opened it because the transformation on this guy is actually the same pretty much as the Seekers that they already put out, and I kind of know those transformations. You also get these, and I actually didn't know what these were, and so I asked, and T-Man said these are to stick the wing fillers onto the back of the other figure. My Maketoys Starscream came with these, so the wing fillers, so I don't need these, but that's what you get. No collector's card, so that's really it for the packaging. Let's get this guy out and take a look at it. Maketoys Endgame out of the packaging, and he does look pretty good out of the packaging. Let's take a quick 360. You do see there is some paint on this guy. So right here you've got the purple and the white paint. You've got the paint on the cockpit there. All of this plastic is just regular colored plastic. You do have paint on these thighs, which are die cast just like the original Seekers. I think this is painted as well, the tip of the nose cone. And I believe that's it. Maybe these pieces right here. But that's really it for paint. There's nothing really else on here. And oh, the face. Yeah, the face is painted as well. But everything else is just standard plastic color. And it looks good. So one of the issues I'm facing right now is I just reviewed Fans Toys Goose, and Fans Toys Goose, we'll actually maybe bring it in here for comparison or something, but Fans Toys Goose is painted all over and it has a ton of die cast, so it's very hard to take a jet transformer and compare it when you've got something like that setting the bar. So I'm going to try to just pretend like that doesn't exist and take a look at how this looks with some other figures. But let's take a look at actually the G1 cartoon first, and we'll see how this guy stacks up. I think it's going to be pretty good with the G1 cartoon. Honestly, they've got the coloring down pretty well. So let's take a look at Articulation. Now, it is pretty much the same. There's a couple things that are different, so we're going to do that pretty quickly. So the head is on a ball joint, but you get a lot more movement than you did with the Seekers. And then you get this extra movement because there's a joint inside the head. Actually, let's just pop the head off there. You can see there's this extra joint there. So you get a lot of nice movement. It does rotate all the way around. It goes all the way up and down. It's a little bit loose, but it's fine. It stays in place. And the arms are on that same hinge. It does rotate all the way around. It is hindered a little bit by these wings, but you can rotate the wings back, and that helps you get them out of the way. So speaking of the wings are also articulated, so they rotate all the way back like this, and you can detach them. That's really for transformation, but you can rotate them in and out, and that helps you with posing. Rotation at the bicep, double jointed elbow. Oops. And this is the same issue that we had with the Seekers. These things, wings tend to pop off, which is a strange thing to not redesign. That was the exact same design as the MP11 mold from Takara Tomy. Have a little peg that goes in here and it doesn't stay and pops out. I don't know. It's a little bit better than the Takara Tomy version, but why not change that? You do get a rotation at the wrist, and you have the 3 fingers connected there, and then the pointer finger separate. Pointer finger does have a second joint, so you can do a little bit of pointing, although he's a little crooked fingered, but you can point with it. You do have the same waist rotation that you got with the other Seekers. It's not ratcheted, but it feels like it's got like a single ratchet that kind of locks it at the edge. It does feel kind of tight. Everything on this is tight, so I'll give them that. It does feel nice and tight. All of the joints feel a lot tighter than what we got with the Seekers, but it's not without problems. So you do have a nice ab crunch here. There really is a lot of movement there. You can get him really crunched over. But that's the same as what we got with the other Seekers. So continuing downward, you do have hip skirts here that rotate up and down, and these hip skirts which pop right off because they're glued and the glue has come off. I did want to show this to you later. I wasn't planning to show it to you now, but the glue here is just it's come off. I mean, it still bends, still got the articulation, but tends to come right off. These also pop off very easily, and it's about the same as what it was with the Seekers. No, not really much change there, but if you open those up, you do get a leg bend pretty high. Actually, you can go all the way up to there. And it's really tight. And see, this is some of the issues. Things are popping off. I'm just going to leave them off for now. And you go back to there, which is nice. All the way back to there. So plenty of articulation on that hip joint. You do have a double jointed knee. The bottom one is not ratcheted, but this top one is soft ratcheted. So they don't really feel too good. And actually this one is a little bit looser. Again, all of the joints are tighter than what we got with the Seekers, but still some of them feel inconsistent, especially this one here. I don't think it's a ratchet, but it's really squeaky and it just feels inconsistent when you move it. Continuing downwards, you do have the same ankle tilt. These ones go about the same as the others. And the toe tilt, you can move this toe in and out for different poses. You also have these wings. This is new, so these wings on the legs, they do rotate all the way back. So if you prefer that look, I like one click out, so it's not straight flat, but it's like one click in, and that looks good. So that is all of the articulation. Let's put all these pieces back. So let's take a look at accessories. First, we'll take a look at his guns and null rays with the larger missile style cannons, and those look pretty good. I think these are the ones that should be on his vehicle mode, but they look fine. They match the plastic on the rest of his body pretty well. And here he is with the null rays, and these look good. They also have that same articulation that you had on the original, so you can move it out and kind of do a whole bunch of stuff. And those look good too. I prefer the missile style ones just because they're more accurate with the vehicle mode. And just for comparison, here it is with the stubby style null ray, and this is more for vehicle mode, the jet mode, so you can kind of have this shorter one, but I prefer the longer null rays anyway. So before we go ahead and take a look at some comparisons, let's take a look at the faces. So this is the standard face you get with the figure, and that looks pretty good. He does have the red eyes and the kind of metallic gray face color. With the I did something dumb face. I don't know. It's a weird face, but there he is with a smirking, a smiling face. That one looks pretty good. I like this one. It kind of reminds me of the Starscream smirk, but you know, Dirge style. Here he's with more of an open mouth style face with a smile. That one's not great. It's just not my favorite, but here's that one. And here he's with the sad, or I guess worried face. And okay, this one's okay, but again, out of all of them, I like the standard face that it comes with. So we're going to get that one back on, and we'll start taking a look at a couple of comparisons. The Maketoys Starscream, I think they call them Lightning, Meteor, whatever his name is. They do look good together. This does remind me that their heads didn't articulate back, so you couldn't have them looking up. These definitely look up. So that is an advantage that these guys have over the original mold. Here he is with the Fans Toys version of Skydive, and you can kind of see the differences but they are almost the same height here, and you can see the differences in paint and just the overall look. There he is with the Takara Tomy version of Megatron, which always looks good. And they look good together, good size. He's a little bit smaller than Megatron. I feel like Megatron just should be bigger. And good scale, good size. I think it's appropriate. This guy transformed into his jet mode. Now this is a reuse of this mold. It's not new, so I'm not going to really walk you through, you know, too slowly. I'm going to try to move quickly so I can get this transformed quickly. So I'll try to talk to how you do it, but basically push the arms in, fold his hand, see on this side. And they have fixed this. I didn't talk about that, but if you zoom in there, you can see they've changed out that C-clip. So there's no more C-clip. It's actually pinned. So that's a nice change. I'm glad they did that. That was sort of irritating on the other figure. That would always fall off. I'm glad they did that. So you can lift all that up. Get this out of the way. You can unpeg these side pieces, and they are pretty tight. Maybe that's something they fixed too. I don't know. And again, this fell out, but what are you gonna do? Now you can get his whole. You can get his whole upper torso kind of folded away. Just leave it all up here for now. We'll deal with this later. Okay? But now you got it out of the way, you can take care of all this chest piece. So put these up just so you have a little bit of room to work. Those folded in. Fold those in, and again, this fell off, so I'll just plug that back in. Not a big deal. I'll probably glue this back in. It's just a bummer that it falls off on its own. But folds up fine. Doesn't have any problems. Right now, you can get the arms slid down, and you want to open up this entire piece here to give yourself a little room. These rotated in, fold down, and you can peg these back into the arms. Alright, next you can work on this waist piece. You can kind of get this slid up, and it is going to peg in here. And this will probably pop out during transformation, but we'll try to get this all pegged in. It's a little bit tricky. It's not a perfect fit, honestly. Tends to, but there you go. Now let's work on this top part here. So we're going to get this all squared away. So rotate this around. And you do have to get the head in here. So in order to do that, you're going to have to fold this back on its joint, and that allows it to fit underneath the top cone. You're going to rotate the entire thing to the other side, and everything should kind of rest into place like that. And we'll talk a little bit later about some of the issues with this, but open this up. You're going to need this back piece of the cockpit here, and then push this in, because this is the faux cockpit. You don't need this piece, so push that down. Get this all settled away. This is like the least fun part of the entire thing, is this stupid cockpit. It really is irritating, but this all clipped in. And make sure you have it all straightened out. It should be kind of sitting flush here. And then you can fold this down. And that's all going to move, so just get it pretty close, and then later we can clean it up. Alright, so next we want to work on these wings. So you can fold these out like this, and then unpeg them here, and get them folded flat. And in order to get them in here, let's just move this out of the way. In order to get them in here, you do have to get them onto this tab right here. So you just sort of got to bend the plastic over. Doesn't feel great, but it does fit onto that tab. And you can see the tab makes its way in. Yeah, I'm not the hugest fan of that, but that's how it transforms. So same thing on this side. Get this folded down. Pegged in, and then fold these up, and they do peg in right there, so get that peg in, peg in. Now we can take care of these legs, so leave these folded upwards for now. Open up these panels. These are exactly the same transformations that we had. You're going to accordion this down, and then you're going to fold this down, and this panel is going to go in. Same on this side. Open the panel up, accordion the leg, fold this down. Make sure you have the boosters folded inwards. Fold the feet flat on the other side so that they sit flush, or as flush as you can get it. And you can start pegging in and squeezing the legs together. It all sits flush. And last thing we're going to do is push these wings upwards and get them pegged in. And again, these are all the same transformation steps, so nothing new there, no new design or articulation. And then you've got to get it pegged in right there. There's a little tiny peg. Just make sure you hit that hole. See on this? That's what she said. And there you go. And then fold these down flat. I guess that completes the look. I don't know. Seems like an extra piece to me. But. And there you have Maketoys Endgame in his jet mode. And it does look pretty good. You know, we are missing one thing, which is the missiles here. So let's get those on. They do fit. There's actually 2 sets of missiles. So if you wanted to install both, you could have both the missiles and the null rays. But I think it looks best with these missiles. And it does look good. The colors are very nice. There are a few issues, so let's talk about them. The cockpit here doesn't really come together properly. It always kind of just wants to come apart. And you can see it doesn't close. It doesn't peg in together. I think it has something to do with the way this was all molded in the head, or it is a new head, but you know, I'm not really sure why it doesn't peg in. And then a lot of this stuff on the top of the panels, the fitment isn't perfect. And again, this was where I said having that Fans Toys Goose figure right before this was probably a mistake, because that's a newer mold and this is an older mold, and it does feel dated. But you can fold down these landing gear. They are very tight because of the paint in there. Let's take a look actually at the cartoon and see how good this looks. I think this is pretty close to the G1 cartoon. I think that's why people are buying this. That's actually why they're probably buying any of the Maketoy Seekers. But as always, I think they nailed it with the cartoon accuracy of the jet. Now let's do a couple comparisons with a few other the X Transbots version of Breakdown, and it looks really good. The size is pretty good, just about spot on as it was with the other jets that we have. So no complaints there. That looks good. He's with the Maketoys Lightning, I think is his name. And it does look good. Again, you can see the landing gear on these. That was always an issue. But I do like that the wings aren't floppy like they were on this one. Everything is solid. These actually don't bend. And everything kind of locks in. That was one of my irritations with this one. It does look good, but these things were just kind of irritating to pose. And actually there's a little bit of breakup in here in the middle. I don't know why they chose a black joint in the middle instead of a purple. That still bothers me. So final thoughts on this guy. It's kind of a mixed bag. So there are some improved things. They did fix a couple of things. So like the C-clip on the cockpit that holds onto the back, there's no more C-clip, so it doesn't fall off. That's good. But then I've got other issues like these hip skirts and this piece here just kind of falling off the figure. That kind of stuff is inexcusable. You know, this is the third, fourth, maybe fifth. I think it's the fifth actually, because we had a Sunstorm in between, which was horrible QC. We've had the Starscream, the Skywarp, and the I forgot what they called their Thundercracker, whatever name they used. And then they had the Sunstorm, and then I think they were working on a Hot Link, and that one got canceled. So that's a lot of molds. They should have been able to fix a lot of these QC issues. And some of the same problems that existed with the Starscream. As far as looks is concerned, this guy really's got the looks. But it's the quality and the build. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I am going to try to do a comparison of Fans Toys and Zeta Toys version of Skydive. So I might actually put a poll up on my channel so you can vote and let me know what you want to see next. That's really it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.